InnerQuest explores various pathways through which you can connect with the infinite wisdom of the universe and apply it to personal, professional, and spiritual growth. This program, featuring accomplished practitioners, educators, and authors, is provided by Infinity Foundation, an innovative center for holistic studies and research. We invite you to share this journey with us.
Hello, welcome to InnerQuest. My name is Jay Stone, your host for today, and our guest is Linda Williamson. Welcome, Linda.
Thank you.
Linda is a certified hypnotherapist and a teacher of hypnotists. Linda has a master's training in psychology and is an NLP master practitioner and an EFT facilitator. Linda, how did you get started in hypnosis?
Well, I was taking psychology courses at Western Illinois University, and as a part of their courses they offered a self-hypnosis class, and I really enjoyed it. It helped me a lot with my grade point and just doing better with all of my coordinating of classes and things at school. And then I got in a really bad car accident, and after that I had some problems. They were thinking of taking my hand off, actually, because they couldn't get a skin graft going and everything was pretty much up for grabs. And in the meantime, they mistakenly addicted me to the medication, to the morphine, that would allow a general anesthetic operation to be completed. And so they said they wouldn't be able to finish my operations and that they would actually have to take my hand. So I wasn't really excited about that. I was really upset, and I thought, this can't be. And so I remembered that I had learned this self-hypnosis, and we were told that it was most effective for pain, although I had not used it for any pain. Mm-hmm. And so they talked with people on the staff and found a nurse to work with me so that they could use just a local anesthetic and then help me so I could get a skin graft so I could go to hospitals up in Chicagoland.
Okay, so that was your personal experience. When did you go from your personal experience to hypnosis as a profession?
After I retired from my first job, which had to do with real estate management, mm-hmm. I decided to go ahead and get certified because I had used hypnosis with a lot of my friends and family and mm-hmm. even my children. And so I thought, I'd really like to share this with people, really like to help people to understand the great power that they have in their mind. So,
now, I started with hypnosis formally in December 1982, and I've done self-hypnosis every day for 30 years, most days twice. Wow. Do you practice self-hypnosis yourself?
Yeah.
Well, tell us a little about your personal practice.
Of how I practice self-hypnosis? Okay. Well, I use it for a lot of day-to-day mm-hmm. type activities, things that I want to accomplish. I just basically allow myself to relax and imagine them accomplished and mm-hmm. connect with the feeling of mm-hmm. that. I do it mostly focusing on my health and wellness. I like to do a lot of visualizations of, free radicals flying into water and being absorbed into the body as opposed to damaging the body.
So what do you think about hypnosis as preventative medicine?
Since I have been doing the hypnosis for myself, just focusing on my health, I haven't had a cold or any sort of physical illness in over 12 years.
Oh, that's
so
great.
I would say it's great.
Yeah, I would say, me 25.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a cold but maybe 25, 30 years ago was the last time I took aspirin. So,
really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah, that was the only medication I've used. So, there's a question, does hypnosis really work? Rather than ask you that question, you can answer that. But tell us why hypnosis works?
It's communicating with the subconsciousness, which runs your body and stores all of your information. So it kind of has everything that you need in order to, help yourself with any issue, any problem.
Now, you mentioned the subconscious. Now, our audience may not know what the subconscious is. Can you describe the subconscious to our audience?
Yeah, the subconscious is like the second processor of our brain. We have a conscious mind that is offering us ideas and helping us to learn and to see and hear and taste and touch and smell. And then our subconsciousness is coordinating all of that information. It has everything that we've ever experienced is stored in our subconsciousness, and it runs all of our bodily functions, beating our heart, blinking our eyes, digesting our food. So it really handles our life experience.
Well, one way I explain unconscious, by the way, I call it unconscious, not subconscious, and using un for meaning not conscious of. One way I explain the unconscious is, let's say if you ever leaving the house and go, oh, I got to get that. Well, it's the unconscious that reminds you to take whatever it is you forgot, or you'll be at the store and you can't remember what else is on your shopping list that you left at home, and you go, oh, well, what should I get? And then your unconscious will supply that information.
Yeah, I think that's a great way of explaining it, because it's really the things that you can do like without thinking. Then you can call upon your subconsciousness to help you with those.
Right, and the unconscious never sleeps. While the conscious mind is sleeping at night, the unconscious is watching over, protecting, guiding the mind and body. For example, it's the unconscious that wakes us up and says, oh, it's too cold, I got to put on a blanket, or close the window, lower the air conditioner, or turn off the fan. It's the unconscious that wakes us up when we're too warm to make some changes. So that's the unconscious regulating the body temperature. But you touched on an important point, is that the unconscious regulates physiological, our physical being. Unconscious regulates the heart rate, the respiratory rate, the brain waves, etc. You want to extrapolate on that a little bit?
Yeah, it's where the real power is in change, because it has all of that information for you. And so when you want to make a change, the best way is to relax yourself, allow yourself to move into a slower brainwave pattern, and then focus on what you want. And your subconsciousness connects with all that, identifies all that, and then helps you to figure out ways and ideas, and like you said, to get toward what it is that you need to do. So if you wake up and you're chilly, then it would help you to grab the robe or the blanket or whatever in a natural way.
Well, you hit upon how you use your own unconscious that I just thought was outstanding. You mentioned how you imagine your free radicals just disappearing, and so you're using your unconscious to strengthen your immune system. You mentioned how you haven't had a cold in 12 years, and I'm aware that there are 22 studies on visualization and cancer healing, and 18 of the 22 studies shows visualization helps fight cancer, and visualization is part of hypnosis, or what you're doing when you imagine your successful imagery. And but so you're using it in a preventative way. Mm-hmm. And if our audience is looking more for some more information about using the unconscious or imagery to fight cancer or some other immune disease, the Simonton method, or the Simonton Institute, which was founded by a physician, Dr. Carl Simonton, and his wife, Stephanie Matthews Simonton at the time, who was a psychologist, so she was kind of like the mind, and he was the body. And so what are some of the signs that people experience when they're in a trance? How does one know whether he or she is in a trance?
Yeah, sometimes it's a little difficult to notice because we're in and out of the hypnosis trance all day long and we don't notice most of those times because, again, it's a little tricky. You're not really conscious of it, and so as you move into it, your conscious mind is focused differently often. But I would say, you know, the way that I can tell when a client is actually relaxing and moving themselves into hypnosis is when they have eye fluttering. With their closed eyes, you can kind of see their eyelids fluttering, and you notice their breathing gets more regular. So those are more objective pieces, but you can also use that for yourself. You might feel a little heaviness or numbness or tingling from the inside also, and then you know. Many times right as you're falling asleep you get that little jerk and that's a letting go, and so when you're visualizing and allowing yourself to relax really into that place, you may get those same little kind of jerking sensations.
You bring up a good point, is that we go through a trance state right before we go to sleep. So it's very important what we hold in our mind when passing from our normal state to our trance state to our sleep state. And that's why many religions say pray right before you go to bed. And then we similarly pass through the trance state when we wake up. Like in the Jewish religion, you're supposed to even say a prayer before you open your eyes. And in the Far East, meditation is recommended in the morning. Why? Because people are naturally in a meditative state when they wake up. It's
great to take advantage of that, knowing that you're always going to be there in that state. Then you know you're there, you might as well use it anyway.
Yeah. Now, what about distortion of time? For me personally, that's one of the ways I know I'm in a trance. Do you want to discuss time distortion?
Yeah, because your subconsciousness really knows no time. Our conscious mind put together time to help us keep track of things. So we might do something, and I'm sure you know for yourself that you do something you're enjoying. So if you're enjoying your visualization and you're focusing on it, the time may go very fast for you. You may have been focusing, you know, for 15 minutes and it seems like 5, like you barely did anything at all in the time. But it can also go the other way, where you spend 15 minutes and it feels like 2 hours because you have no real concept of it.
Yeah, it's like you'll be out with your friends and you go, wow, 4 hours. You look at your watch, wow, 4 hours pass, but it only feels like 45 minutes. And there's truth. There's actually scientific research that shows time flies when you're having fun. So we're out with our friends, we're having a good time, or enjoying our favorite hobby or interest, time flies by. In the meantime, when people experience pain or suffering or maybe impatient and stressed because they're waiting for a cab, hearing from the doctor or something, you know, time just seems to drag on.
Yeah.
So I know that's one thing hypnotists learn is how to give suggestions to change a person's perception of time, because that could change a person's entire state or the state of being.
And help them with stress, really. And that's what I really think the biggest benefit of working with hypnosis is that it helps us to deal with stress so that we feel better as we're moving through our lives, and then we can get more accomplished.
Well, can you talk about how the hypnosis state or a deep state of relaxation is opposite to stress?
Yeah, when you're stressed, you tend to breathe very shallowly. Your blood, your heart races and your blood is being pumped faster. When you are in the hypnotic state, your breathing is relaxed and full and complete, where you're using all of your lungs, and you're also allowing yourself to, your blood rate to slow down a little bit. So you're basically inviting the parasympathetic system back into to track rather than the sympathetic system, which reflects stress and the threat to the body and to the welfare.
So basically, the relaxed state, the hypnotic state, is totally opposite to the stress state.
Yeah,
totally physiologically, and that brings up a good point, is that hypnosis isn't something just about the mind. There's many physiological changes, decrease in heart rate and blood pressure and muscle tension and respiratory rate, and the brain waves slow down and there's more blood flowing to the brain.
Well, I love that you pointed that out, because you really cannot separate the mind and the body with hypnosis. It's all connected together, and that's why I believe for myself I have found the most benefits in my health with the hypnosis. But it's also very effective to help people, deal with their emotional stress of a relationships, or to just change a habit of how they're eating or what they're eating, or to change a habit of how they're reacting.
Now, when clients come to you, do you make recordings for them to take home to listen to?
Generally, I choose to teach them processes that they can take with them rather than to hear the whole session. Many times, what happens in the session, they move beyond the problem. And so sometimes if they listen to the session, it can trigger.
That's, I mean, just the hypnosis portion.
Oh, just the hypnosis portion.
Yeah.
I still tend to offer them more of the process, explain the process to them, and then ask them to use that process as a part of their visualization. There are lots and lots of different processes. But if they request that they would like to have the hypnosis session, then I do offer them just the hypnosis part for themselves.
And do you place something in the background, like
not generally.
Okay.
Just talk with them and do my best to identify what it is that they want relief with, and I offer things through a few different modalities that you mentioned when you introduced me, some of the NLP processes and some of the EFT processes and energy.
Well, our audience may not know what EFT stands for, so you want to discuss that?
Yeah, EFT is emotional freedom technique, and it is a way of helping you to release the emotions that you've connected with issues in your life, so that you could think about an issue or a person and have it feel more neutral rather than to experience the full emotional
and how do you use the EFT technique with the person?
You would tap on different meridian points. So if I were here with you, I would actually tap on you while you're focusing on that negativity, and I would be the space of the negativity and allow you the opportunity to stay more focused on the positive.
Are you aware of any research that backs up the efficacy of EFT?
Well, they have used it mostly with post-traumatic stress disorder with veterans, so there's been quite a bit of research on that, and it is being studied long-term for long-term effects in different hospitals, even in the Chicagoland area, so we're expecting to have more results of it.
Yeah, I wasn't insinuating that there was anything, hokey about it, like the woman who discovered or started like the healing touch or therapeutic touch was a PhD in nursing, Dr. Kruger, and at first when she would, use her modality, when there would be even no physical touching, they called her and her students the Kruger's crazies, and now there's a lot of literature that backs it up. What she came to know anecdotally or intuitively, because she can see the changes in her patients.
Yeah. Well, and I always just offer the different ideas, because some people are really not open to that, and you want to follow and respect their wishes. And so I offer a few different ways that they could approach it, or we could approach it in the session and then see what they line up with.
Well, and you mentioned the meridians, which I would think that EFT is part of energy medicine. And so our audience may not know what energy medicine is. And everybody has kind of like a different definition.
Yeah.
How do you define energy medicine?
It's very similar to me. It seems like hypnosis because, again, you're not conscious of your energy. You can't really feel your energy or identify it, but there are basically, just as there's a parasympathetic system and a sympathetic system in our body, there are energy patterns. There's the energy of wellness and well-being, and then there's the stress energy or the fight and flight response energy. And those two energies, one comes more horizontal and one comes more vertical, and we would tap in different areas to help get the energy flowing in a way that actually benefits you rather than stressing you out.
Well, and when you originally hurt your hand, did you feel you were moving energy into that area to help recover it? Moving energy into your hand to help you recover?
Actually, just the opposite. I imagined moving energy out of my body away from,
Okay, and that's a good point because energy could be excessive as you were experiencing, or energy could be deficient. So, good, good. So you moved it out, and were you using a visualization to do that?
Yeah, I worked on it with the nurse who was there with me, and she knew guided imagery, and so she helped me to put a color to that extra energy, and then the color red came to me instantly, and then we had imagined a light up in the ceiling that I would send all the red into that, and it would be a red light, and it would protect me during the operations, and if anything were to go wrong, I could imagine the light would flash to me to give me information.
Well, I know you started in college as well as I did. Wouldn't it be great if children would learn self-hypnosis, learn how to relax and use the healing power of their mind, or the way to cleanse ourselves internally?
Yeah, I really see that as a part of where I'd love to see this work go. The younger people really can get more benefits, and it's usually not until we're older that we're open enough to explore these other areas, but I would love to see the young people benefit.
Now, is there any particular type of hypnotic induction you like to use?
Yeah, there are many that I really like, but I really like focusing on colors, I think, because I had such success with that. I like focusing on breathing and allowing you to breathe in a good color, a strong color, and then breathe out whatever might be the feeling that you're having that's negative, whether it's stress or worry or sadness or anger or whatever it is that you are wanting to release. So I like to start there and relax people. That's what I consider a hypnotic process.
Now, you're also an NLP master practitioner. What does NLP stand for, and what does it mean?
It's neuro-linguistics programming, and it's the study of how language affects the mind. And so it's a natural with hypnosis, because that's all we're using is language to help the person put together the pictures that we can communicate with our subconscious with.
And I would add it also affects the brain, because that's where the neuro comes from, nervous system.
Yes.
So what affects the mind affects the brain, which affects the nervous system, which affects every cell, organ, and system in the entire body.
Yeah, and what I love about it is that it is the study of how the language then affects the brain directly.
Do you know where NLP comes from?
From the study of Milton Erickson.
Right.
Yeah, I love that too.
Yeah.
Him being a medical doctor and using hypnosis for most of his help with his patients.
Right, and Milton's first patient was himself, because he had polio, back in the early 1900s. And what's amazing about Dr. Erickson, who's, by the way, from the Midwest, from Wisconsin. Yeah, Lowell, Wisconsin. Well, what's amazing, is, the results that he had.
Yes.
And so the people that observed Erickson, they tried to create a formula that other people can replicate the work of Dr. Erickson. But he lived a very long and productive life. He thought he was going to grow up to be a farmer, but because he had polio when I think he was 19, and he put himself through college, graduate school, and medical school on his own.
Yeah.
He paid for it on his own, and there was no, Disabilities Act when he was going to school, and he was one tough-minded man.
And a real pioneer in this, and I really enjoy, too, that I learned hypnosis by having to use it.
Yeah.
I was really in between a rock and a hard place, and I had to come up with something for myself. And so I loved his story. When I heard it years later, I didn't know it then. That's when you have experienced it, you just have so much more understanding.
Well, and also research shows that the hypnotist actually goes into the trance before the subject does, and so you're probably going into a trance before your patients, and the fact that you're practicing means you've conditioned your mind and body to relax, so it'll help you to help your clients to relax. We only have 2 minutes left, so is there anything we haven't touched on that you want to
Well, I just like where you were leading with that, because that's why I instruct those who want to become hypnotists, because really it's a occupation where you get yourself in that place. You're getting the same benefits at the same time as your client.
Right. You have to practice what you're preaching, otherwise what you're preaching will never be effective. Now, are you teaching classes at Infinity?
I have taught at Infinity, but I have nothing scheduled coming up.
Yeah, and so when people take your classes, then hopefully you'll get some interest as a result of this. What do you teach?
Well, the next topic that I was wanting to offer was about the positive thinking and how it really does affect more than just your mood and your body through and through.
Yeah, and how it affects other people.
Yeah.
It's like we sense, like Dr. Kruger was sensing her patients were healing through the therapeutic touch. I mean, people pick up on our energy in subtle ways.
Yeah.
Well, the name of the show is Inner Quest. Obviously, hypnosis has been both an inner and an outer quest. Can you tell me how hypnosis has helped you get closer to God? Or nature, or whatever you want, higher power, whatever you want to call it?
I believe that in the quiet inside you, you can hear the message. So then the message that's meant for you, that comes to you, is there, in those moments. So I really think that's how hypnosis helps with it.
All right. Thank you, Linda. Okay. For more information about Linda Williamson, the Infinity Foundation, or the Inner Quest talk show, stay tuned to the credits. Stay tuned to the credits at the end. Until next time, we wish you good health, good spirits, and good fortune. Thank you, Linda. It was a pleasure.
Really.
For more information about this show, our guests, Infinity Foundation, or any of our other programs, please visit our website, infinityfoundation.org, or call us at 847-831-8828.